Hello everyone, my name is Demetrius. Last video, I explained what mechanics take part in your Mythic adventure. Today, I will explain the two basic types of character creation in Mythic. First being freeform and then point-based. I would like to say this before I begin this chapter. I suggest that you read the first two chapters of Mythic RPG or follow along with my first two videos. I will be using the Mythic terminology stated in the intro video from this point to the last chapter of this book. Okay, so character creation. As I briefly stated, there are two ways to make a character in Mythic: freeform and point-based. Freeform can be lightly sketched or completely made on the spot. The point-based character creation allows for a character to be built within a balanced set of parameters. Many of you tabletop gamers are familiar with the point-based system, like GURPS, but Mythic can actually be more streamlined than GURPS with this point system. Which method is right for you? Let's see. Just so you can see, freeformed section, point-based characters. Okay. Freeform characters. Freeform is good for when you have an idea for your design PC but don't want to create everything about them now. This also helps for players that have their own custom Mythic system running and know how to create their basic character quickly. This is a great impromptu RPG method when you and your group are only able to play every 2 weeks and you all just want to get to the action. Do not misunderstand, a freeform character is very balanced within your game's parameters. You set a limit for how high of a rank your combat ability can be, for example. This is also the best option if you just don't like point-based systems. Now for point-based characters, this promotes balance throughout your game. This keeps all characters in line with the game's set power level. This also helps if the idea of making a free-formed character with no set structure unnerves you. That feeling should not deter you from a free-form character either. Point-based characters are far less fluent than free-formed characters, but more fully realized from the start. We will start with freeform and then point-based character creation, as I already mentioned. I will be using my Mythic system to give insight on how to make freeform stress-free. So for your character components, your Mythic character sheet is broken down into summary, attributes, abilities, strengths/weaknesses, and notes. Summary gives a description of your character. Attributes are as follows. Strength. This is not just your arm strength, but power generated across the entire body. Agility. This is your character's foot dexterity or measure of how graceful they are on their feet. Reflex. This is your twitch speed or how fast you react. Reflex is very important for the development of combat skills. Combat skills being psychokinesis, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, or even your speechcraft if you choose to fight with your words. Intelligence is your intelligence. Intuition, your general awareness, can be used to detect if someone is lying to you or if you notice a ninja in the shadows before they sneak attack. Willpower, your mental and or spiritual strength. This also can be used in place of charisma, if that's how you choose to run through the game, or not. Toughness. This measures your ability to withstand punishment. The higher the toughness, the harder it is to hurt, knock unconscious, and kill the character. For other attributes custom attributes, you can add, remove, or change an attribute that is pertinent to your particular game mode. As I said, if you prefer wisdom instead of just having both. If you prefer wisdom as per to D&D. Instead of having intuition and willpower separated, then you can just axe those both and put in wisdom. Or as I said, if you want charisma instead of willpower, that works as well. Determining attribute ranks. The ranks of your attributes determine how potent the attribute is. As I mentioned before, it's all about detail. None of these words matter until you basically give them a meaning. Okay, I'm sorry, let me get back where I was. Ooh. For a freeform character, you may determine any rank you wish for each attribute. Keep in mind your character's summary and try to stay in character, or remember your GM's limit. For a sample character, we use my PC. His name is Vega, a warrior monk converted from GURPS to Mythic RPG. My GM limit for PCs within my homebrew world is set at allowing 2 attributes to be ranked at high and 1 combat ability to be ranked at high. This translates to PCs starting at level 4. This is fundamentally decided by the character's combat ability rank. Here in this gray box for custom abilities is a section, here in this gray box for custom attributes. Maybe you are more comfortable, as I said, with D20's ability names, or Tunnels and Trolls attribute names, or maybe even GURPS' attributes. Maybe you're more comfortable with Mythic attributes and want to add charisma, as I said, or corruption or insanity. Do that. Do not be afraid of what you wish to play, and you might feel that it might be inherently wrong because that concept does not exist by default. Abilities. If your attributes are a character's innate personal resource, then abilities are additional talents that the character has developed. Usually abilities take the form of skills. However, abilities can also be powers and supernatural capabilities. Abilities essentially is a list of what the character can do. You may choose any abilities you wish for your character, again, keeping them in line with your summary. If you are creating a freeform character, then the ranks are also up to you, and they are set the same way for attributes were set. For a point-based character, there are limits to how high you can set your ranks. This is explained at the end of the chapter. When setting ranks for abilities, remember what we said before. For ranks and other abilities, an average rank means an average person skilled in this ability, or an average professional. Those with less than average ranks are skilled amateurs. Hidden abilities. Even when you have finished creating your character, there may be more to him than you have, there may be more to him than you have recorded on the character sheet. This is especially possible for free-form characters, as you are not required to fully detail their capabilities at the start. If during the course of the adventure, the character is called upon to use an ability that is not recorded on the character sheet, you may determine that she still possesses the ability. Now, while I do agree that you should always heed by your character summary, you do not, while I do feel that you should heed by your character summary so that you do not lose too much focus, I would also say that if your character succeeds at doing something that she is the complete opposite of, in terms of character concept, or if they have critical success with an ability they do not have, then I definitely feel that you should be rewarded for that, or your character should be rewarded for that. Using Vega, the warrior monk, as an example here, he's a young brooding adult, and while he may be articulate and wise, he did not start the game with diplomacy or speechcraft as an ability. So, when it came time to barter for the life of a captured red orc man that was going to be eaten by some black-eyed lizard folk men, Vega was making all of his checks at a disadvantage. Specifically, he was trying to use his willpower, or his charismatic force of personality. A rank of high at a penalty of -2 rank shift. Placing his active rank at average. In story, he was using his calming, strong presence to try and talk reason with these men. Now, at times, very often, I enjoyed high-octane combat and solving the majority of my actions with my fists, elbows, knees, and feet. But in this case, I wanted these indigenous peoples to get along, and I didn't want to come through and try to wipe them off the face of the map because of murder, hoboism, or latent xenophobia. The course of this conversation, I tried to bribe them all. To responded, and the other lizard folk man wasn't trying to hear it at all. At the amount of money and with critical success, Vega had piqued the interest of the other one. Due to Vega's back-to-back critical success and just generally succeeding with the penalized ability, I decided to reward him by gaining his first level in Speechcraft. His Speechcraft level was 1, and it came in at the rank of weak. Now, many who are fluent in Mythic might think weak versus just about anything is, well, weak. It might be pointless. That is exactly the point. Vega does not know how to butter people up and make them feel good and direct them towards his way of thinking. This was a stroke of luck in the situation where he spoke with self-confidence. He didn't hesitate with his intentions and spoke clearly. If he tries to recall on that feeling and use it elsewhere, he would have better success than trying to butter people up with flowery words. What granted him that level 1 rank in Speechcraft was him barely noticing what tones and inflections work. It will take much time before he has a silver tongue, that he has as much of a silver tongue as a bard or a politician. Strengths and weaknesses. Strengths and weaknesses are akin to advantages and disadvantages in GURPS. A strength is recorded with a plus sign next to it, or a plus sign next to it, and a weakness with a minus sign. Sometimes it is not clear whether something is a strength or a weakness and may have a plus and a minus sign with a backslash dividing them. Strengths and weaknesses cause rank shifts. This is abbreviated as RS, of 1 or more. In Vegas' case, he has a rank shift of -2 on his willpower to use Speechcraft to barter for someone's life. The possible strength of attractiveness could have given him a +1 rank shift or a +2 rank shift. Most rank shifts should be in the range of plus or minus of 1 to 3. 4 or higher can definitely happen within Supers games, or even dealing with Eldritch Horrors or even a dragon. How strengths and weaknesses work. A strength or weakness should be listed on the character sheet as a simple statement of what the strength or weakness is, when to apply a rank shift, and any special rules that pertain. To use Tana Pigeon's example, Sharpshooter is a strength that gains a +1 rank shift to firearms abilities when firing a gun, and you can see the target clearly. Or a weakness for a medical student that wants to be a surgeon but has a fear of blood. Fear of blood is a weakness that suffers a -2 rank shift to all tasks when seeing blood. The 2 PCs in your post-apocalyptic adventure just narrowly survived being attacked by 2 raiders. The former soldier is badly wounded and needs the young, unproven surgeon's help. Now I'd like to drop down real quick to here. To strengths are not abilities. And simply say that strengths can definitely be abilities. The D20 Modern feat Firearms Proficiency eliminates the need to write pistols, shotguns, submachine guns, etc. as separate abilities. I often put expanded weapon notes in the strength plus weakness section. Now, of course, you can just write guns as an ability and, call it a day. That would obviously, like with the GURPS, skill, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, allows you to basically, shoot, small guns, big guns, rifles and all that, without the, writing them individually. But that would also be more cinematic. If you're going for grit, I would definitely recommend writing them like them separate. Like I'm good with pistols, but I've never handled a rifle before in my life. Or your character could be a police officer and it's pistols and shotguns, but only the SWAT might be good with sniper rifles and assault rifles and submachine guns, for example. Moving on to notes. You're just about done. Now, your notes section is yours to do with. I only keep track of my equipment, items, money, languages, and favorite points here. I write family and group affiliations as either a strength or weakness in the strength or weakness section. Excuse me. Okay, so your favorite points. Favorite points are used to change the number you roll, either to curve a failure or success. And what I mean by that basically is, obviously, you're trying to, curve a failure to maybe like succeed on convincing somebody to basically, fall for your con. Or maybe you critically failed and they know you're lying to them, but you want to like boost it up to just a regular failure. Now that might be like dissatisfactory to you, but that if you can, that would be a lot better than just critically failing. Because if you just fail them, they're just like, no, thank you. But they don't know that you're lying to them. You see what I'm saying? That can change the complete dynamics of your story, depending on how crucial that con might be for the moment. And of course, a success is a success, but maybe you really wanted a critical success. Maybe that fight is really difficult, and you want this monster or this creature or this whatever to basically die. Your life is on the line, maybe. Or going back to what I just said, maybe the con. You need this con to really work. You need it to sell. You need to get to this guy's land, or you need to get into the basement to basically do your ritual. Whatever this con can be. I treat favorite points within the idea of experience points, but they do not have any effect on increasing your attributes or abilities. I use them only for the purpose of changing dice rolls. What I mean by that, just real quick, is like I said, by experience points, I might say if you beat like some low level character or just, over regular fights, I'll say like, okay, you earned 5 favorite points per person that you killed. You might get 10 if you beat like the boss of or the leader of these bandits, or a bugbear that's currently, or a bugbear that's currently in charge of a gang of goblin wolf riders. It might give higher. Everyone might give higher, like 25 if you defeated a very strong boss, for example, like a beholder or a dragon. No, it all really depends. But favorite points do definitely help, and I think that how Tana Pigeon has them by default rewards is completely fine. I still definitely use those. If you made no progress in the scene, you don't get anything. The character made progress towards solving an open thread, I might give you 10, but I'll definitely give you 25 if you have solved or closed an open thread. I also don't cap players at only spending up to 25 favorite points. This is due to how I run combat. Combat for me in my homebrew mythic system is ran very swiftly by asking, do I kill the target instead of do I hit the target? This means that the PCs are still capable of being killed, and they only have a certain amount of favorite points to curve a deadly roll. Freeform character. Now, we will use Tana Pigeon's Nathaniel-Dirksen character is an example of character creation, but we'll use my GM limits. You wish to make a free-form pirate character named Nathaniel-Dirksen. So, step 1, character creation. Character summary, excuse me. You decide on the summary. Nathaniel-Dirksen is a young pirate, but has some experience with a saber. You've sailed the seas for a few years, forever on the lookout for more treasure, but what you really crave is adventure. You don't have any enemies other than the crown, and you have a small bounty. Step 2, attributes. Nathaniel-Dirksen is an above-average pirate with average intelligence and willpower. So, strength is above average, agility is above average, reflex is above average, intelligence, average, intuition, above average, willpower, average, toughness, above average. Step 3, abilities. Nathaniel is a level 4 pirate. This level will be determined by his combat ability. In Tri-Stat DX terms, Nathaniel is significantly above adult human average in skill with a cutlass or a short saber. So for his list of abilities, it would be cutlass / short saber at high. Thus, as I said, he's a level 4 pirate. His intimidation skill is above average, navigation below average. He's not a really good navigator, but he's just good at simple, basic pirating. He's a good fighter, let's just put it that way. He's pretty good with sailing. He literally knows the ropes, so that would be above average. Social skills, average. Streetwise, is above average. And his swimming skill is above average. Step 4, strengths and weaknesses. His first strength is fast draw. This is a strength, of course. You've survived this long due to your trained reaction to reading the room. You gain a +1 rank shift bonus when you are rolling to see who goes first, and you don't have your weapon already drawn. Your second strength would be danger sense. Part of knowing how to read a room is using your intuition and perception to your advantage to detect an ambush or someone maybe in the brush, with a trained crossbow on your captain. You gain a +1 rank shift to intuition in those situations. Step 5, notes. You enter in your notes that Nathaniel has 80 gold pieces, generic pirate clothing, and a cutlass or a short saber. This covers making a freeform character. Now let's see how he builds with the point buy mechanics. Okay. So, step 1, character summary. Your character summary remains the same. Step 2, attributes. As stated before, Nathaniel-Dirksen is above average pirate with average intelligence and willpower. So, his strength is above average. That costs 10. Agility, above average, costs 10 as well. Reflex, above average, costs 10. His IQ is average and that costs 5. Intuition, above average, costs 10. Willpower, average, costs 5. Toughness, above average, costs 10. Your attribute total costs 60 points. Step 3, abilities. Stated before, he's level 4 pirate. Cutlass / short saber, high, costs 20. Intimidate, above average, costs 10. Navigation, below average, costs 4. Sailing, above average, costs 10. Social skills of average, costs 5. Streetwise, above average, costs 10. Swimming, above average, costs 10. Your ability cost total is 69 points. 69 points. Step 4, strengths and abilities. Strengths and weaknesses. Fast draw is a strength that is always on, so that costs 10 points. Danger sense is a strength That is always on as well, and that costs you 10 points as well. Your strengths cost is a total of 20. Your notes, they remain the same. The Nathaniel we've made with my GM limit for freeform does not match Tana Pigeon's point by a limit for Nathaniel. This can be easily rendered by giving Nathaniel more weaknesses while taking into account that while he may be an above average fighter, he could very well have a blood oath, phobias, or even quirks. The strength and weaknesses point value system is similar to GURPS. Sorry, I'm using things at once. Strengths and weaknesses point value system is similar to GURPS' system in essence. You state whether their strength or weakness increases by 1 or 2 rank shift, and then you decide how often this condition is triggered. The modifier for helping you decide the cost of the strength. The modifier is for helping you decide the cost for the strength or weakness. So, that's all, folks. That's all there is to making a mythic character. Set a GM limit on ranks for freeform play, or use a point buy to make a more detailed character. Whichever you prefer to help make your experiences easier. There are blank character sheets in the back of this book if you own a copy, and I also have a link to this video, my personal copy of a blank Mythic RPG character sheet. Thank you for joining me for Chapter 2, Character Creation. Next video we will tackle the Fate Chart. My name is Demetrius, and I'll see you next time. Bye.